What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another masterclass this week. Uh, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, fix and flips, kind of how we got started in real estate. Outside of using my VA loan in conjunction with moves or PCSs, we're moving around with the Air Force. That's how we got started with picking up using our VA loan, picking up houses. Our first house was a duplex, one side of a duplex. But after that, we started buying foreclosures when we PCS, using our VA loan. And after kind of leveraging that strategy, it was time to take the show on the road. It was like, hey, we got to accelerate the wealth. The wife, we had chose to keep the wife at home. She was, chilling, taking care of the little guy. We didn't want to do daycare, and so it was like, okay, well, I need to figure out a way to generate more income. And so we started fixing and flipping houses. So did the first flip back in 2015 in Alexandria, Virginia, outside Fort Belvoir. And, from there, we started virtually flipping houses down in Birmingham, Alabama, where my wife is originally from. And we did that for a couple of years. And then we relocated to the Panama City, Florida area. And we renovated the house that we moved into, which was another HUD foreclosure. And right after we finished the renovation, I got hit with orders for deployment in the spring of not well actually in spring of 2018. And so we did a little bit of wholesaling because I couldn't put a team together. I was in and out of training leading up to the deployment, holidays and everything. So but after we got back from the deployment, we got hit with Hurricane Michael overnight, had thousands of dilapidated houses. We're still buying houses that had been damaged from the hurricane today. And we back in 2022, in October 2022, we hit 4 years since Hurricane Michael hit the Panama, devastated the Panama City area, a Category 5 hurricane. And we're still buying those houses there, and it kind of set the segue to where we are now. Tonight we're going to be talking about Operation Steadfast. I name my properties to one so I can keep up with them. Ever since that 2018 timeframe, that we've been doing roughly about 10 to 12 deals a year. This one is Operation Steadfast that we're going to talk about tonight. And this one was our most lucrative flip last year. The name came from Operation Steadfast. I'll talk about that as we get into the content and go. So I got a couple slides going for you guys tonight that I'll share, answer some questions at the end, and let's get going. All right. So fix and flip, we talked about that. For those that don't know, fixing and flipping a property is buying a house that's undervalued because there's some type of work that needs to be done. Once that work is completed, we'll add value, and now we'll get the property appraised for the new value, and boom, we'll be good to go. And instead of keeping it, the BRRRR strategy where you can buy, remodel, rent it out, refinance it, and repeat that strategy, you kind of keep the property. But with the fix and flip, you're adding value, you're going in making repairs, then you're selling it, you're putting it on the MLS, and you're selling it to a buyer. Usually it's a retail buyer. You don't have to use the MLS, but most people do. You can do for sale by owner. So there's different strategies there. But in this case, we bought the property $153,375. We ended up putting in around 45,000, mid 40s, with the deal. And it was kind of a straightforward project. One of the things that I talked about, when we started fixing and flipping after that first one in Alexandria, Virginia, we were virtually doing it in Birmingham. And now, ever since November of 21, that we've been virtually flipping in Panama City, Florida, and across the state of Alabama. And this is no different. This is one of those projects that came up last year. We were virtually flipping. This was one of the last deals that I negotiated before I hired my acquisition manager right now, who's a realtor that does all our listings and everything. But I was still negotiating and working direct to owner virtually. And so with this one, I sent my kind of as we're going through, I sent my team in, my contractor who operates as my general contractor, my project manager. He went in, looked at the renovations. He took pictures for us. I found this through SMS text messages. So I do have a virtual assistant based out of the Philippines. We send hundreds of messages a day. We've kind of scaled it back a little bit right now. We haven't been as aggressive. We're kind of pivoting right now to strictly small multifamily. That's something that I'll be talking about more in a few weeks, just kind of where we're going with that strategy. But they sent out the text messages. This lead responded to the text message, said, "Hey, yep, I'm potentially interested in selling my house." This was on a vacant house list, and they had moved out over a year ago, and had still had hurricane damage. It was just sitting there. And so once we went through that process, it probably took us 6 weeks to get this under contract. And one of the big things that was going through was we had another seller, not seller, but another buyer that came in that was looking to pick the property up, and they made an offer sight unseen. Kind of, I don't know if they was a phone call or a text message, but I had built pretty good rapport with the owner, and he shared with me like, "Hey, yep, I got another offer. They came in." He's like, "They made this crazy offer. We had really settled around 129. They made a crazy offer. It said they would come in at like 160,000, and didn't even look at the property and everything." And so he was like, "Yeah, I don't trust them, and I don't know if they'll be able to close." They hadn't even looked at the property, just threw a number out there. And so that was one of the things. But one of the thing that I think that put us over the top was us being local. Having somebody. I had my contractors already walk it. I talked to them about us being a local business. We kind of talked about, hey, what we've been doing in the community after the hurricane that hit. Shared my story about being displaced 6 months after the hurricane and working on base there, and just sharing that, building that rapport along the way. And honestly, he gave us the opportunity to come in with a higher price, and we kind of negotiate, ended up at 153, 375. And and the rest is history, which it ended up turning into a phenomenal project. And these are some of the before pictures. Of course, I didn't walk it, but when my contractors walked it, they gave me the lowdown on, hey, what it was going to cost us to do the renovation. They were my eyes and ears, as they always are. And so, but when you look at the pictures, there was some. Of course, we need to put a roof on. Then, secondly, that you have the some sheetrock damage there where it got wet from when the roof had got damaged during the storm. But outside of that, we also demoed. There was some demo already done to one of the bathrooms. And so when we kind of looked at it, I'm like, okay, we need a new kitchen. We're gonna put in vinyl plank floors. The windows are good. We're gonna go back in. We're gonna paint the brick outside. We're gonna put a new roof on and new appliances. And it should be fairly straightforward. And so we went in with that approach, with them being my eyes and ears. That's one of the things I encourage my clients is like, hey, if you don't have the expertise, find somebody who has the expertise, bring them on your team, outsource it. I'm really big on outsourcing and bringing in professionals that know what they're doing in order to help us be able to do what we need to do. And so I think one of the big things with that is looking at how can I bring in a home inspector, or my contractors can go through and walk the property for me, give me an estimate on what it's going to be. Now I don't have to, if I'm new, I don't have to worry about doing that. Me, myself, I was able, when I see pictures, I kind of go through my head like, hey, I think we should be here price wise. What do you think? What am I missing? Because I didn't walk it personally that I didn't see. It's like, oh, well, you didn't see this, you didn't see that. And then it's a conversation. But and as you go through, as you get more seasoned, it becomes a lot more straightforward, and you're able to move with speed, with making offers, with building that confidence, the more deals that you're able to get done. So that was this one. 70% rule. This is what I live by. And it's not firm, it's not concrete, but it's a framework on how we can manage the deals. Understanding if we come in at the purchase price that we need to be at, plus the renovation costs, if we're under around 70% of the after repair value, then we're going to be good. It's a deal. And in this case, we actually pushed the envelope. We pushed it up to 75%, just because, one, I looked at it that we weren't doing a whole lot of risky work. We weren't tearing down walls. We weren't going through. We didn't have foundation issues. It was a straightforward job. So the risk was somewhat bounded. And from that perspective, I felt comfortable, even though we were in a bidding competition with another buyer, we could go up to 75% of after repair value. And when we look at it, I had estimated conservatively like, hey, 269 was going to be my ARV. And lo and behold, the hard money lender that we had on this deal, that they appraised it at 274. And so it was like, okay, we're good there as we're going through the due diligence piece after we got it under contract. But understanding where we are initially, was the first piece of it. So ARV after repair value times 70%. So took that 269,000, multiplied it by 0.7. You get $188,300. We're going to subtract how much repair cost or how much it's going to cost us to renovate the property. And once we subtract that out, now we ended up at a maximum MAO, maximal allowable offer. That's the max you're supposed to offer on this property at 70%, which ended up being $146,300. So we were out of bounds a little bit, about $7,000 over that price, which isn't bad. But because one, we look at the risk level. Okay, is this a risky project? If I had $100,000 budget, and okay, I'm not going to push the envelope and go up to 75%, just because there's a lot of risk. There's some more things that could happen. But having the risk bound, having a good firm understanding of the area. It was in a great part of town. There wasn't a lot during this time frame. We're talking about January of 22. There wasn't a lot of inventory. The market was crazy. And you'll see kind of how we ended up getting a bidding war, how things got pushed up kind of in that time frame, that taking all that into account. We didn't know that, it was going to go up another, 30,000-40,000 in value in that meantime, in only 2 or 3 months. We couldn't have predicted that. But even with us being in conservative, it actually turned out to be a home run that we didn't plan for. But we were conservative, where we were able to go through and manage where we are right now to make sure that it was a solid deal. So the due diligence, what do you need to look for when you go into a property? This one, but every property, there's certain components that you really, really care about. Your big ticket items. So your number one, of course, you're going to look at your roof. That's always number one, the most expensive thing that you potentially have to replace. But then secondly, start going through down the list. You have your HVAC. Understand the age of your air conditioning heating system in the house. Understand, does it need to be replaced? Do you need to repair sheetrock in there before you can go back and paint? Looking at the floors. In this case, we had hardwood floors, but I knew that I didn't want to go back in and sand the floors, and I was completely fine in this area. I know I can go back with vinyl plank, with a quality vinyl plank product that we could go back in, and that would sell in that area. So no understanding the flooring, new fixtures, new paint, cabinets. We put a brand new kitchen in, new cabinets, appliances, countertops, and of course you're gonna replace the trim, your new appliances I talked about. And then also understanding what updates you need to do with the bathroom, with a tile shower, or if you're gonna just do an insert, or like with most of our flips that we do, that's a little bit on the lower priced end, that we'll go back with epoxy paint. We'll paint the current tub, the enclosure there, or if they have the tile wrap around, that we'll go back and epoxy over the tile and paint the tile and keep the existing tile in place. Just because we know at the entry level price, that's fine. That works for that area. That works for that type of property, and we'll go from there. And that always keeps us kind of where we're going, where we're continuously assessing the market, what type of product we need to put on the market in order to be able to meet the competition where they are, and understanding what we need to do in order to sell. So that's always good. And then of course you want to look at what you're going to do. You're taking out the wall tile and the bathtub, and understanding what's going on with the roof, as I mentioned earlier. So looking at this deal specifically, purchase price $153, renovations $42K, closing costs on the front end was around $14,430,000, and total project costs all in $215. We're 4 months to complete, and this was 4 months from acquisition, the purchase of the property, to actually going under contract and the property actually closing and being sold. And which is fairly quick. And of course, we know that things have slowed down. Things have slowed down dramatically in this market, and so things a little bit have changed. And so you have to look at where you are with your days on market, understanding, if you don't know how to go and look on Zillow, get with a realtor, call a realtor. You want to have a good realtor on your team that can tell you these things, that has their pulse, that has their finger on the pulse of the market. But you understand your days on the market, and for your projects, we're still doing deals right now that you need to understand that, hey, this house would have sold in 4 months, but now it may take 6 months. It may take 7 months. And so plan for that with your budgeting when you start looking at your holding costs. But, it was 100% finance. I had a great relationship with my lender. The numbers work. They came back with their 274,000 desktop appraisal. We were well below that with the budget we had lined out. And guess what? They said, hey, you don't have to put any money down. Just pay the closing costs. And closing costs, and I think we paid 2 points. So 2 points on the loan amount, and plus all the fees and everything that go with closing. And we had a 10% interest rate. And let's see here. This is kind of a screenshot. For those that got the slides, you can kind of dig in and see that, but that just breaks out that 14K and just shows you, we'll blow that up a little bit, whereas that you can see what exactly is all encompassing with that. And let me see, I'm looking here. I can't see myself, but let's see if I can go full screen. But for those that's watching, you all can probably see the slide a lot better. We go here, and you can see the breakout. I'll get a little closer. There we go. Yep. So the sale price up top, they held back 40K. Residential Capital Partners, who did the hard money lender, who did the loan. Then you can see there just the origination charge from them was $5,754. Let's see what else. We had the home insurance premium, so $1,700 for 12 months. For the insurance on the property, you want to definitely get insurance when you do these deals. The property, we took title in the LLC. Most of these hard money lenders, you got to take title in the LLC. They won't lend to a private individual. But then you get under the title charges, $400 for title insurance, $840 for the owner's title policy. You got $45 in there for endorsements and settlement closing fee to the title company. So all these little miscellaneous fees. Then you got your county's tax stamps, all the recording fees. $1,000 for the state deed tax stamps. You guys can look through the slides and just see all these fees that get added in that you definitely got to account for in your closing costs. And then you see there toward the bottom right, due from the buyer, which was us, that we had to bring a little bit over $14,400 to close for the deal. After picture. So this is kind of exterior. We painted the exterior. We go with the same color scheme on the outside. A lot of times, if it's brick, we'll really just go back and update and paint the trim. But at this price point near $300, I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and paint the exterior brick. It's gonna make a really, really big difference, and it did. Inside, we did the vinyl plank floors. I was on the fence about painting the fireplace. We left it existing, and we did the waterfall with the granite. My guys, they got a steel with the granite. Really good, good local vendor where we got that. We did the waterfall on the countertop there, which was the first time we really did that, because I focus on entry-level homes where most of the times we don't put granite in the houses. And we actually did the not butcher block. What do we call that? With the wood plank in front there, we painted dark gray under the cabinet, just because how we had the cabinet set up. There was the cabinets with a lot of dead space, and so we kind of jazzed that up a little bit and put the wood planks behind there, then just stained them, and then of course new appliances. And so it was a really nice house, nice square footage. Bathroom was updated. We did a new tile shower. The wife and I went back and forth because I kind of freaked out when I went in the bathroom. I'm like, why did they put tile? They ended up, before the vanity was in, they put tile. They tiled that whole wall around the window, and then they did like 3/4 of the wall along where the vanity was with tile as well too. And I'm like, man, what the crap are they doing? I'm like, because I'm not there, so I'm just seeing the pictures, the update pictures, and I'm like, what is that? And they were like, no, he was like, hey, this is gonna be good. It looks good. It's gonna look good. And so the property sold. So it wasn't my taste. And the guys, and that's one of the things with we've been working together almost 4 years with my team, and so they get some leeway on knowing what's going on, what needs to happen. They know the material we normally use. But on this one, they kind of got outside the box a little bit. They got a little bit too creative for me, for my take. I'm like, hey, keep it plain simple. Let these other folks come in, customize it however they want to, because you may turn somebody off, and that's the last thing you want to do. But it worked out. Thank the Lord that it wasn't that big an issue. and I've learned not to freak out like that. So but yeah, so this is the sale HUD, just kind of going through the house sold for 357,000, which was ludicrous. That when we talk about the market and being in a bubble, that was true. That it was no way we could sustain this, and it was the same thing where it's that you had FOMO, where people had the fear of missing out. You had a lot of that going on. We ended up, we were listing. When we came out, we were saying, yep, 269. We had appraisals 274. So I'm looking at it. But over those 4 months, I'm talking to the realtor, and it was funny because we had somebody next door. They saw the renovation. This always happened. For those that's doing renovations, you always got the nosy neighbors. You got people that's riding by. You got realtors riding by. They see the dumpster out front. They're like, oh, wait, hold on. There's no inventory. Like, hey, this house coming on the market. We love the area. And so it was like, okay, cool. So the neighbors up the street, they were talking about, they had moved from DC. I forget, the guy took a job down there. So we had bonded on the DC thing. And, his wife's mom wanted to move closer to them. So they were talking about the house and everything. So I was like, cool. If I don't have to pay my realtor, I don't have to pay your realtor. Y'all want to take a look at it. We had a couple conversations. We had talked about 315. So I'm like, okay, cool, 315. And this is like February, early on in the renovation process. I'm like, yeah, we could potentially, do that. That's what I'm thinking. We'll want to sell it at, just because we had looked at some comps that had closed. After we had got started, it was like, okay, we could definitely sell this house. It's really nice area. We can sell it for more. And lo and behold, they were coming back. They're like, well, we're reconsidering, and they were wishy-washy with it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, we put it on the market. And my realtor's like, I think we can get 330. So I said, well, list it for 330, 339. And so we put it out there. We listed 339, April 6th. And we got an offer. I think we went under contract like 4 or 5 days later. We had 2 bids that came in, and then they put an escalation clause in where they would increase their bid of a certain amount above the next highest bid. And they didn't care about the appraisal. I'm like, there's no way this house is going to appraise for this. But that's the thing. And especially as you saw, like in markets like Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Austin, especially where you had a lot of people moving from California, where they sold their house that they had bought like in 1990 for like $100,000. They sold it for like $1 million. So you had a lot of people moving in with money and cash money. And so it was like, okay, if I just sold a house for $1 million, I got like 600,000. I can pay cash for the house. And so people didn't really care about the appraisal. And we saw a lot of that. And that we ended up with in this case, which I don't even know where the appraisal came back. They didn't have no contingency in there if it didn't appraise. And they were like, hey, this is the house that we want. And they were fine with the price. And so it all worked out. But and then you see here the closing costs, go back a couple slides, that you go out that I paid my agent, was it $10,700 went to her, 3%. We paid the sellers, the buyer's agent 2.5%. They got, what is that, 9K? I can't see that one. 9K. And but overall, it was like 22,000 we paid out. The majority of that went to commissions. We had to do the transfer taxes that we had to pay. Then the tax stamp, the sale of the property was that 2,500? Looks like on there, but it's rolled out. So that's what we had to pay on the back end to the agents that were involved, and she earned her money on that, and hands down. Because I used to sell properties where you could pay $200 for a flat fee listing. For those that want Baycom, BEYCOME.com, I use them. But you can pay that, and they'll go through and actually list the property on the MLS, and you just fill the phone calls. You talk to the buyers, you set the appointments and all that stuff. But usually they got their own agent. And so you're just dealing with the agent. I've sold enough houses where I can talk to any agent. I can negotiate on my own behalf and make decisions. And I can work the contract piece and work through them. And their agents are going to put the contract together anyway and work that side of it. And you'll be good to go. So I think that's one of the big things that we saw with this, that it was just it was a really good deal that moved fast, that it was a blessing. And you have home runs like this. Every deal isn't like this. Every deal is not going to move that fast. It's not going to be that straightforward, and you're not going to make that much money to get that type of deal. And that's kind of a breakout other net profit as you go through and looking at the deal. That the purchase price, we got it for 153K. Renovation, the holding costs, we were paying about $1,600 a month holding costs, and plus the renovation budget, and then the closing cost on the front end was 14K. All in around 215. Then we sold it 357, paid out about 23,000 at closing, and we used to track those numbers out. You end up with a little bit south of 120K in 4 months. And so, and that's the thing that I tell people is like, if you do one deal a year, and some of our deals we make 30K, 40K. Some of them we make 120K. But if you're consistently showing up, that if you could do an extra 30K, you do that 2-3 times a year. Could you do something with an extra 60, 90,000 just working a project for a few months? I didn't even see this house. I didn't even step foot in this house. And and that's the thing with learning how to build a team and put a team in place. I still I go to Panama City. I think I went to Panama City in 22. I think I went one time the whole year, and we did 15 projects across Alabama and Panama City. And that's the thing that once you put in the work, you understand how to do the math. This is 5th grade math. We're adding and subtracting. Y'all seen it. We did one multiplication with the 70% rule, and the rest of this stuff is just adding and subtracting. And and so a lot of people I know don't get caught up in the math, get intimidated by doing math. That this stuff is straightforward and understand it. There's a little bit more calculus to it now. With just being more conservative. We're more conservative with our at the repair values, with our hold period times, and with our strategies. And that's one of the reasons why I'm looking at right now. We're pivoting to small multifamily, whereas that we pick up 1 or 2 complexes the whole year, and we can duplicate the same thing that we would do with 6, 7 houses. And that's the thing that with all this, you gotta buy right. You can't overpay for houses in real estate. If you're taking notes, you make money in real estate when you buy. You don't make money when you sell. We bought this property for 153K. We had bought it for 250K. It would have been a tight deal. It really wouldn't have made sense. But if we bought it right from the beginning. That's how we were able to make the type of profit. And we negotiated the deal. There's a negotiation piece in it. But that's the thing that you got to realize is that, yeah, there's risk. There's risk in anything. But as an investor, you got to manage risk. And the more you educate yourself, the more knowledge that you have, the less risk that you're taking on, because you know what you're doing. Or, if you don't actually know everything that you need to be doing, that's why you hire professionals. That's why I have a general contractor to be my eyes and ears. That's why we have a title company that does title research that gives you a title policy. That's why we have insurance in case the house burns down that we're covered. That's why we deal with realtors that's professionals that know the market. They can buy the house for us. They can sell the house for us. They know everything that we need to do. They can go and they can do the open houses and coordinate everything for you, where you don't have to worry about all that type stuff. And so you got to build a team. And the sooner that you build a team, you can step out a lot of this stuff. But I'll tell you, the first deal that I done, we found a house that, the one we did in Alexandria outside Fort Belvoir, Virginia, that I found it on Bank of America foreclosure. And I put I went through, I like, hey, this is a deal. Let's put an offer on it. We won the bid. I had to find my hard money lender, the first hard money lender, because we had just did our first deal. And do that, I had to build my whole team from scratch, with using Angie's List to find contractors that were reputable in the area and kind of build. And I found a lot of my own subs for like the granite, the HVAC, and we didn't have to put a roof on that one. And for like a pool contractor, that was the craziest thing. Like with my job and what I do in my job, I had a freaking Russian pool guy that I had to work with on our first deal to renovate the pool. The dude was Russian, so I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh wow, I got to deal with this guy. He's an American citizen, of course, but he was from Russia, and so it was interesting. And a really, really knowledgeable dude. He taught me a lot about pools and everything that I still use on deal. We're working right now on a potential short sale deal for a house in Panama City right now that has a pool, and we got one we had to do pool work on right now that's under contract that's coming up on sale. And so, but I learned all this on that first deal that I still take with me today. And but you just got to get started. You got, at the end of the day, you got to get started. And I think, kind of going, I'm already going into my lessons learned that speed is your friend. The faster you can get in and get out, the more money that you're going to make, the more profit that you're going to have on the bottom line from that. Number two, you got to know your market. You got to be able to move with speed. That any house that comes on my market, I know within less than a minute what I can buy that house for. If I got a few pictures, even if I don't have pictures, once they go, I know what I can offer on the house, and they can go in and verify what it's going to cost me. But I know pretty confident. I'm like, okay, if I got to put a roof in it, on it, we're going to assume a complete gut. I can tell you based off the square footage what I need to be at. Don't be afraid to adjust the 70% rule. That as you go up in after repair value, that 70% rule, that's a lot. That's a big number. That 30% that's left over for that equity that you got left over, that's a big number as you go larger. So you can push your after repair value, you can push up to around 75% easily with more expensive houses, just because with the percentages that that number gets a lot larger. And so your profit is like, okay, am I fine with at 75%? Am I fine with making 120,000? But it's saying here at the 70% rule, it's saying that, oh, yep, in order for me to do this deal, I need to make 140K. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. If I buy it at 75%, we're making 120. I can live with that day. And so that's the thing. You just got to adjust it and know where you are from a risk perspective and know what you're trying to do. Contractors can break things. One of the things that we went through that some kind of way the stove got broke, and on the install, I'm like, hey, well, when we bought it, it wasn't broke, so it happens. And that's one of the things that you have to deal with. And the last one, you got to take action. That this stuff isn't hard, but you got to, if you don't do it, it's never going to do it. The work's not going to do itself. And so that's why I encourage people that's interested in real estate. Hey, take action. You can do these deals. There's nothing special that I did to be able to do this. I didn't even do a whole lot of work outside of this. Was the last one that I actually negotiated. It was a back and forth and building rapport and talking on the phone. But I would, if you can tell me I can talk on the phone, have 6 or 7 conversations, and to be able to get 120K in 4 months, then I'll jab on, talk to whoever I need to pick the phone up. But that's the thing. And I did too, for those that stick around, that make sure y'all download the mistakes report that I did. I did an interview and kind of documented this, but it's a really good read for you that are interested. And these are the 7 mistakes that I made in building my $10+ million portfolio that we've been blessed to build up over time. It's crazy that, my first 3 properties were all, property V that I bought with my VA loan, and had moved around. It took time. That was over the course of from 2006 to 2013. I bought only 3 houses. And, and from there, we picked up a couple of rentals in Birmingham, over Avenue K in Inslee, and then one off 2nd Avenue. Then after that, we started flipping, but we were only doing like 2 projects a year. We would do a house, sell it, then find the next one. Finish that, sell it, do the next one. And then after Hurricane Michael, it was like, okay, let's put a team together. Let's run with it. And, then we got into multifamily, bought an 18 unit. Last year, we picked up 96 units in Montgomery, and it was like, yeah, it goes fast. But, you got to build a team. You got to get around like-minded people. You got to have a community of people that can hold you accountable, that's going to give you a kick in the butt when you need it, to say, nope, that you need to be doing this. And, and that's one of the things now. It's like, I don't have to buy another piece of real estate the rest of my life, just from the decisions that I made, putting the business together. We're retiring from the military, Lord willing, in about 2 years, that I don't have to buy another piece of real estate. And it's super cool, whereas that now I can be conservative. I don't have to be super aggressive and take a whole lot of unnecessary risk, because why do it if you don't have to? And I think that's one of the things, I kind of give that philosophy and teach when I start talking about mentorship and just sharing with the community and coaching people as we go through where we are right now, that, there's still deals out here to be done. There's going to be a lot of deals that's going to happen in the commercial space between 5 and 40 units to small multifamily, as people have to sell, as landlords retire. They want to stop being landlords, and the interest rates environment where it is right now, that there's going to be a lot of seller financing. There's going to be a lot of deals done where you don't have to bring a lot of money to the table, or where you can partner with 1 or 2 people that can bring enough money to the table to get the deal done. But you got to be in the game. You got to be doing it. And so I think the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot of wealth that's going to change hands for those that's interested in really being aggressive with, and I say aggressive, but being patient, being aggressively patient. Because once, we're sitting back waiting, but when it's go time, we're ready to go. It's almost like the Navy SEALs. They don't get called all the time, but when you call them, they're ready. They're ready to go at a moment's notice. And that's the same way we are. We're aggressively patient. We're waiting for the deals. We're putting in the work. And when the right deal comes by, and you're talking to that one seller, like, hey, man, I got this 16 unit. I hadn't kept up with the market on the rent. You could probably increase the rents $400. It needs about $100K worth of work. He's like, man, I'll let you go. You sound like a really good dude. My kids don't want it no more. You're investing. I love to drive and everything. It's like, hey, give me $50,000. I own or finance it for 10 years. And boom. Deals like that happen every day. And that's the thing that we're building up. So if you guys are interested, let's see. Y'all drop questions. Y'all share questions. We got some time. I don't want to ramble. But definitely, do you take partners? Yeah, I partner with my consulting clients right now, and some of those in the REI Genius community with deals. I'll review deals, and then if it makes sense, that we can definitely look at doing that if it makes sense for the markets that I'm in. I'm bullish on Alabama right now, and some of the other. We're looking at Atlanta and some other markets, Savannah, and some other places to kind of look at on the small multifamily front. What are the slides available? The slides available in the community, REI Genius community. Yep, all that stuff is there. The recordings for all these master classes that I do, all the recordings are inside the community. The slides are there. When we do our talks and everything, all that's documented there for y'all to check out. For those that's interested, it's $27 a month to be in the community, where I kind of share what we're doing, my strategy, how I'm managing my portfolio. I sharing with you guys. I think next week we're going to talk through. I'm going to walk through my P&L, profit and loss statement for the 96 unit apartment building, what that looks like. How I'm managing some of the decisions that I'm making on my 18 unit Panama City. I share all that stuff, all the stuff that you can't share on social media out there, but within the community, sharing that with everybody. I bring in other investors from my network, other millionaires that's got unique, real estate professionals that got unique skill set. They got the unique strategies that they focus on to kind of bring that back to the community. We'll see. I got a estate planning attorney that's gonna come in and share with the community. And we're just doing, just high level stuff where we're getting together. We're setting up accountability groups that for those that want them inside the community, and of course all the events and everything, and then just whatever you need in the community, whatever. If I don't have it, I know somebody in my network that has it, and so we're just building. And so if you're looking for mentorship, get inside the community. That's what it's there for. REI Genius, where is that I can just pour into everybody that's looking to kind of scale up, that's looking to build wealth through real estate. Hey, that's the place to kind of do that. Do you do one-on-one? No, I don't do any one-on-one coaching, mentoring. It's in a group setting. I'll tell you the reason why I kind of got away from one-on-ones, just because a lot of it, whereas that when you do it in a group setting, that you may have one person that asks a question a certain way, but now everybody else who didn't ask that question or didn't even think about asking it, they get the benefit of receiving that answer that one person needed. And now they can take that information and look at how they can apply that directly in their business or in their investment portfolio. So that's kind of why I don't do the one-on-one. I do one-on-one strategy sessions between myself and Faye. We do 15, 30-minute calls where you can do like a one-on-one strategy session, but like four is just like pure coaching. That most of it's done in a group setting where we kind of get together, small intimate groups, and go through the content that I lay out on. Pretty much I put my business in a box, everything that I do in my business where people can go and replicate it. One of the things that we're adding into that, the small multifamily, and then how to raise private money for deals, that I'm going to be teaching that this year in the next couple of months, and add that to everybody. So that's one of the things that we do with that. But I think getting the community, you'll kind of see how I flow, and then like with the group that is conducive to your learning. But you still have access. We need to jump on a strategy session call. I do that. and Faye as well too. Whereas that we get you set up because everybody's strategies approach is going to be independently different and unique to them. That there's not one size fits all because it's a conjunction of how much time you got and how much money you got. Resources you may have a lot of time and not a lot of money, or you may have a lot of money and not a lot of time. And so your unique strategy on how you're going to bring real estate into your portfolio, if you got stocks and bonds, you may want to diversify, or you may want to start a real estate business. Like your approach is going to be different. And so we're going to help you make those individual tweaks, where you can kind of get in and get after and go and do what you need to do that works for you. And then, because the big thing is you got to craft and set something up that you can sustain for the long term, because we want you to be consistent. We don't want to give you some one-off strategy. Oh, you got to do this, but now like, man, I don't have time to go put out signs. I don't have time to call 100 people every day. That's unrealistic. And so we're going to work with you to kind of figure out what's the right strategy for you. Do you need to be an active investor, or maybe you need to just be a passive investor in deals? But if you're going to be a passive investor, we're going to tell you, hey, this is what you need to look for in deals. These are the questions that you need to be asking any operator that you're giving your money. I know those in the community. I dropped a video earlier this week talking about a $200 million foreclosure that happened in Houston, where 4 multifamily properties got foreclosed on last week. And so I shared some insight with that, some of the emails that I saw going back and forth from the operators and the limited partners. And so, but that's kind of what we do, and we talk about and kind of talk shop within the community, and make sure everybody knows what they need to be doing. What are some of the things that you need to get a hard money lender? You need to have an LLC. Right now, you got to have decent credit, at least a 620. You may need it. Some of them may want more. Some of them may push on you. They may give you a loan if you don't have experience, if it's your first deal, but they're going to hit you probably with a 12, 13, 14% interest rate. They may want 10% down, 15% down. One of the ways that we got Campos Capital Group, I'll give them a shout out, that we got a couple of my clients that's working directly with them. They're really good. They're reasonable. And there's some other ones like that lend directly, primarily to veterans, whether you've done one deal or 100 deals, that they'll hook you up with the hard money lending. And so there's just different criteria. I tell my clients right now, hey, you want to get at least two or three. You want to get pre-approved with 2 or 3 lenders, whereas if you got something that if one kind of flakes on you, that you got a backup plan where you can still get that deal across the finish line. So you want to have the best credit profile as possible. You definitely want to get your LLC set up. That takes an hour. You can go into Secretary of State for whatever state you're in. Check the name, make sure the name's available, and you can purchase your LLC online. Then go on the IRS website. You can get your EIN, which is your social security number, basically for your business, where you can file taxes. You do that free online, and you're ready to go. You can go open up a business checking account, and you're off to the races. How do you get an ARV on a property before you go through the lending process? Great question. There's a process to go through. You want to pull comps or comparable properties. So you want to look within a mile, closer as possible, but no more than really 2 miles unless you're in a rural area. And you want to look at similar houses that are, the same bed, bath, within 250 square feet. So if you got 1,000 square foot home, you want to look at houses between 750 and 1,250. So about a 500 square foot window. So 250 each way. So you can look. And then you want to look for houses that have sold within the last 6 months. When you're in the market cycle that we're in right now, you want to tighten that window up. I want to see what's sold last 30 days, and then or last 60 days, last 90 days. Just see how the prices are fluctuating, and seeing also compared to what they listed the property for, what are the actual houses selling for when it closed? Are they listing for 200,000, but they bought it for 190, 185? I want to understand that the list price to actual sales price ratio. So those are the things you want to look at, but really want to make sure that you want to have an apples to apples comparison. You want to make sure that every house that you look at that's sold previously, that it's really as close as possible to your house. So within a similar square footage, similar bed and bath, similar year as well. Whereas that you don't want to be comparing a 1960 Rambler or a 1960 ranch style house to a 2022 new build. Yeah, you don't want to do that. your number's going to be off. So you want to make sure that everything is kind of similar within reason to what you're actually comping out or what you're looking to purchase, so you can make sure that you're really tight and accurate, and you're good to go on the deal. So yeah, that most definitely that's super important. And because with looking closer to 30, 60, 90 days, that allows you to be a little bit more conservative, and you don't want to be looking back 6 months, because where we are now with this economic cycle, things have changed and slowed down. Prices hadn't dropped a whole lot, but demand has definitely dropped for the prices, but supply hasn't caught up yet, except on the upper end. So when you start looking at the median sales price, that most of the homes, most of the inventory that's increased. And this is a video, I think I put this on YouTube a couple of weeks ago. I showed the Panama City market that we had like a 300% increase in like properties over 500,000 in our market, and compared to last year. And so most of the new supply that's come on the market has been on the higher end, luxury type properties. So I don't operate in this space. I operate the probably about 80% of the median sales price in my market, is just because there's more people that can buy, and there's a shortage of supply at that price point. So, and you have more individuals that can afford a house at that price point. Cool. Any other? We got to see what other questions we got. Great info. Thanks, Antoinette. Just saw that. We answered Brandon's question. What are some things that you need to get our money? We got that one for Jamel, Terry for sure. Got Henry hooked up with the ARV. And that's good. I don't think we have anybody have any other questions? No, great questions. Great discussion as well. Definitely download the mistakes, that report, just sharing the 7 mistakes that I made. If you're interested in mentorship, join the REI Genius community. That's how I mentor and give back to you guys and kind of set you all up for success. That's one of the things that we do, is just pushing the leadership side of it. That this stuff isn't hard, and they don't teach it in school. That's one of the things. You can pick up the book too that I wrote. Came out January of last year, 2022. Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies. What they forgot to teach you in school. That they don't teach this stuff in school, and so you got to get it somewhere. And there's I've learned over the last 6 months, as I kind of putting this together with the coaching side. There's a lot of people out here teaching that don't know what the heck they're doing. There's a lot of people out here that's just money grabbing money and not really fulfilling it. Some of my clients that I've talked to, whereas they pay people $4,000 or $5,000 that don't even answer the phone. They don't pick up the phone. They don't, they help them set up an LLC and get their EIN, and told them, hey, you need to go put out some bandit signs and do some marketing. And that was it. And they ain't heard nothing else from them. And so, so this is kind of my process of, hey, this is how I give back. That I was like, hey, come in the community. I'm an open book. I'm going to share everything that I can to help you out, kind of how I'm building my strategies that I do with how I preserve wealth, what we're doing, what I'm doing with my kids. Like my deal that we're working now, my kids are investors in the deal, because I'm showing them like, hey, this is the promissory note. Hey, give me $100, invest it with me. And I'm like, hey, these are the 3 questions you got to ask whenever you make an investment. Hey, 1, show me the numbers, show me the data. I got to see the data. Okay, I'm like, okay, I showed you the numbers. Does this make sense? Boom. Number 2, do you trust the operator? Do you trust the company? It's like, okay, do you trust me? I'm like, hey, y'all seen me flip houses? Y'all think I can flip houses? Do the numbers make sense? Yep. And I'm like, okay, boom. Now I'm teaching them, like, when you have an investment, they know off the top that, hey, you got to understand, ask these questions. Hey, see the numbers, and do you trust the person that's operating? And so, so that's stuff like that I'm working, building up with the next generation to help them. And that's, and that's you just building up a family and a community, because I'm a true believer that iron sharpens iron. Brandon said, how much does the VA benefit play a part in your process now? Man, I'm tapped out. They don't, I think, I don't know. I'm gonna try to do something with my dad cause he's a veteran too, with his VA benefit. I think we're gonna try to put something together. I'm gonna go into speaking into existence, because I want to be able to do like quarterly masterminds together. And I think I'm set on the Orlando area, so I want to get like a really, really nice property there where we can do like quarterly mastermind events, where maybe invite down like 7 people that can stay there within the property. And, we're going to chop it up. We're going to have a mastermind where we're all getting together, business strategies. One of the things I'm looking in the next couple of years, I want to buy an HVAC company. That's something I want, goal that I want to do. But I want to be able to put these events together at the property and then do that. So that's something I think that I'm going to try to do with my dad, the VA. But now that I'm kind of tapped out, that I had 3 VA loans out at one time, and then I didn't have entitlement. But now it's a little different because they don't have a max on the purchase property. So you can do some free reign. But now I don't really use that strategy. I'm not moving. I just got my orders for this summer, and I'm staying in place in a local move that'll take me through retirement. But if you're moving around, then you definitely can use your VA loan to get into some properties, to buy foreclosures, and take those over. And if you find somebody that's like in pre-foreclosure, VA loans, most of them are assumable too, where you can take over their existing loan with more than likely, if they bought within the last couple of years, they got a really low interest rate. But that's why I tell people that the first thing that you should do is, when we talk about strategy, if you don't own your own home, that's the first investment you need to make, because it's an investment if you buy it right. Whereas that, like the property we found, the foreclosure we live in now, that we bought the property, we put like 30K into it, and it increased in value like almost 400K in less than 2 years, just because we bought it November of 20. And in 2 year time frame, that it increased in value. It was in the perfect neighborhood, great school system, and now I was able to tap in, get a home equity line of credit that I can leverage to do whatever I need to do with the business and things like that. And I ended up, I think we put like 24K down, $24,000 down, just because it was a jumbo loan at that point. And so there's different strategies with the VA loan. That's stuff that we talk about in the community too. And I'm gonna just share those different strategies that I've used, that I've seen other people use. For all those out there that's got a VA loan, or for those that can use the FHA loan, you can get up to a 4 unit. You can buy a fourplex with the VA loan with no money down. FHA with 3.5% down. You can get a 4 unit property. And the requirement is you only have to live in one of the units for 1 year. And so that's the thing that I like to tell a lot of the young airmen, young soldiers that use that VA loan. Get in. You don't have any kids or anything. Get in there, buy you that 4 unit, live it in a year, then move out. You're an instant landlord, and just start building up. My wife and I are vets as well, but don't know how to use the VA as leverage, man. Jamel, definitely look at shoot me a message and we'll chat. Now I'll send you my calendar link so we can chat. But yeah, because it's definitely some different ways that you all can kind of leverage that and move smartly to kind of leverage that benefit for sure. So yeah, shoot me a message, and yeah, we'll find some time to chat. If not the end of this week, next week sometime. For sure. Oh, look at Faye. Faye's on it. Shout out to Faye. Yeah, she just dropped the link there in the chat. So for that 15-minute conversation, Jamel. Any other comment? Oh, you're welcome. In my first on a rehab for 600. You're welcome. I'm in my first on a rehab for 600. Congratulations. Antoinette says she's her first rehab for 600K. That's what I'm talking about. That she's going all in on it. That's awesome. For sure. And yeah, we're going to bring you on here when you finish that project, but just kind of talk about that process for sure. For 105% at 10.7 APR. Okay, she threw some numbers out there in the chat. Got an offer to do a subject to on my house that I purchased 1 year ago. I really don't know what to do. Okay. Are you trying to sell it? Yeah, the subject to the caveat with the subject to is the debt or the mortgage is going to stay in your name. So they would take over the deed. They would put in theory, they would put the title of the property inside of a trust, and they would be able to control the property and make decisions on behalf of the trust, and the debt would still be in your name. And they would pay the mortgage payment each month, and then eventually sell it as well. So if you're looking to sell, the subject to is one way to do it. A lot of times, you can, it all depends on like how fast you got to sell. You know, if you need to sell it in order to buy another house, or if you got to relocate with a job. So there's a lot. It depends, you know, to do that. That could be a solid option for you. But you know, just I would need more information to kind of make a decision on whether or not that's good or bad. Um, with that, unfortunately. But yeah, feel free to you can shoot me a message with some more of the details or whatever, and I'll shoot a quick video and kind of give you my take on it and share that with you. Send you a Loom video um, with just what I think, or give you some potential options. Don't mind doing that at all. Cool. No, great dialogue. Cool, cool, cool. We like to do these next week. Y'all come out same time, Wednesday, 8 p.m. I'm gonna have my brother Garcia. He's gonna be talking about more on the business development side, and he's gonna be sharing some nuggets. So him and I are gonna chop it up live, where you guys can participate. For those in the community, you know, you guys bring your questions to me, and we'll chat a little bit about that. And I know I'm gonna bring him kind of behind the scenes in the community. He's gonna do some things too, and has some kind of big takeaways that you all can get, which that'll be cool. So that is something to look forward to next week. And then after that, we I don't know, Faye and I talk kind of what we see. If you guys got something that you want me to cover, or you know you want more information on, definitely comment, drop that comment below. So because I want to make sure this stuff when I do these free master classes each week that I'm bringing content that is you know, that is relevant, that is something that somebody needs, is something that somebody's seeing out there that need feedback on. Just whereas that it's just not me just sitting here talking about something nobody cares about. And but yeah, oh yeah, so Garcia, so he's gonna be coming next week, talking about unlocking your inner leader, how to harness your behavior superpower and live your ideal lifestyle. We talking about building businesses, we're talking about leadership and all of that that goes into you know just everything. Because one of the things you know we had going on the ticker below, I'm talking in Dallas next week at a conference, and I'm going to be talking about how to build a 100K plus rental portfolio, and then the other one is the creative financing piece of it. And one of the things that, and this is for the second annual Veterans and Real Estate Summit, where all the 15 presenters, speakers, we're all either active duty military or veteran, military veterans. And one of the things that for my veteran crowd, and this is still applicable for everybody else, that you have so much. I'm about to give y'all what I'm y'all not coming to the conference, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway. The big takeaway is that we have to start measuring success backwards. We got to measure success backwards. That we for so long, most entrepreneurs, people that are driven, that are looking for success, we're always chasing the next idea, the next goal, and we never take time to look at where we came from, where we were 6 months ago, a year, 5 years, 10 years on our journey, whereas that, and give ourselves a pat on the back and understand that we have to start measuring success backwards and where we come from, and just knowing that we're on the right trajectory, that we can stop and smell the roses. And so I think a lot of us that, you know, when we look at our day job, we're like, well, I'm just a manager. Well, you deal with crazy people all day. You're managing all these different attitudes. You're having to manage a, you know, a multi-million-dollar budget. You got all these skill sets, especially military members. When we transition out the military, a lot of people, they lose their identity, but two, that there's a struggle with making that transition because there's not, a lot of times there's not a direct correlation to a private industry job, but you have so many different skills. You got leadership skills, you got management skills, you got time management skills, you got money skills. Just for all these like second and third orders extra duties that you got, that you have, that a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit for the skills that we have and how we can translate that to starting a side business. Because this wasn't a business, this was a side hustle when it started. It was only me and the wife, and we were making it work. And I eventually built up a team. And you guys, you got everything that you need to be successful at the end of the day. You don't give yourself enough credit what you're doing, your day job, figure out how you can leverage that to move forward and move the needle on starting your own thing. You know, if you're doing XYZ, maybe you need to be a consultant for that area that you're working in. You've been doing this 10, 15 years. Go do it on yourself and get you some contracts to help some other business. So it's just things like that. Whereas that I think people need to just be willing to invest in yourself and be willing to take that step of faith, because you got the talent, you got everything you need right now to be successful. You just got to take action. And so it would be nice to talk about creative finance. Okay, creative finance. That one, yeah, I guess I can do that in a couple weeks. My presentation that I'm gonna give next weekend in Dallas, I can give that. I can share that. If I may have a, I don't know how long it's gonna take them to get me the recording for the sessions, but yeah, I can talk about creative finance. I love creative finance. That's gonna be a powerful one going into the next couple of years with high interest rates, especially on the commercial side. That being able to creatively put these deals together, that you can build some major wealth over the next couple of years, being able to know how to do that. So yeah, definitely creative finance. Now I definitely appreciate that. What is that, Jameer? Yeah, for sure. That's a great one. How do you contact you? You can shoot me a message on Facebook, um, at the military CEO. The message there is cool, or you can send a message to Johnny at johnnylynum.com for his email, and yeah, and we'll get it that way. Any other questions, Faye? All right. Well, I think that's it, Faye. I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast, and then those in the studio, if y'all want to hang back and ask some questions in the community, we can chop it up a little bit. I got some time for those that's inside the community. We can hang back and talk. Facebook, LinkedIn, it's been real, YouTube, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday, the masterclass, or see you in the community. REI Genius. We'd love to have y'all out there. Y'all have a blessed night, and we'll see you next week.